us. My name is Andy Barnes, and I serve as Director of Communications and Policy at the Clean Energy Business Network. On behalf of CEBN and our partners Browning the Green Space and the Neighborhood Housing Services of South Florida, welcome to this workshop and teaming event on the Community Clean Energy Coalition Prize. The Community Coalition Prize awards up to $195,000 to coalitions focused on energy inequities or opportunities in disadvantaged communities. Next slide, please. We are hosting this event to provide a brief overview of the prize, learn from existing community-based climate organizations about strategies for coalition building, and hear from previous winners of similar prizes about their experiences navigating applications and leveraging prize resources. Then we will provide an opportunity to network with organizations sharing your interests in a just transition, to exchange ideas and potentially find partners. While in some ways you may be competitors for this prize, we also think it's important that you collaborate. So hopefully you'll be able to find partners to be able to put in applications collaboratively. I did want to flag briefly a few resources that you may find helpful. These include a recording of an October 19th DOE webinar with much more detail on the prize, CEBN's teaming forum, which would enable you to learn about other potential competitors and collaborate with them. And finally, a link to the HeroX page about the prize. You can find these resources in the chat. Additionally, I did want to highlight the 3 organizations co-hosting today's event are power connectors. So we are partners of the DOE working to promote the prize opportunity and support applicants. We will also share more about our support later around 3 p.m. in between the first and second breakout sessions. I did want to highlight again for those that jumped on a little late, if you are accessing this webinar on a phone or tablet, you may be unable to participate in the networking session. So we highly recommend logging in using a computer and using Google Chrome as the preferred browser. So with that, why don't we jump in a little bit more about the prize itself. A brief high-level overview of the prize. So the prize awards up to $195,000 to coalitions focused on energy inequities or opportunities in disadvantaged communities. The prize is structured in 3 phases, as you can see on the right side of your screen. So the first phase, which closes on December 7th, will award 10 coalitions $30,000 each. So again, the deadline for this first application is December 7th. So be sure to get your applications in before then. So the first phase will be followed by 2 subsequent phases. In the second phase, teams will be awarded $115,000 each, and that will be followed by a final round where a grand prize of $50,000 will be awarded. So who can apply? Wanted to highlight that new or existing coalitions can compete. So those that are already working on programming relevant to the prize are obviously welcome to compete, in addition to those that are starting up new coalitions or programming. Teams must be anchored by a nonprofit entity, but they can otherwise consist of a mix of local governments, schools, businesses, and community organizations. So the prize application itself is a relatively light lift. The elements that you need are listed on the screen here. So these include a 90-second video, summary slide, cover page, 2,000-word narrative, and letters of commitment or support. You know, sometimes we see teams a little bit intimidated by the video. Please don't let that deter you from applying. This does not need to be professionally done in any way. So with that, why don't we go to the next slide, please? So I would like to turn things over to Miles Rogers, who serves as Program and Management Analyst at the Department of Energy's State Energy Program. Miles will be joining us with recorded comments to provide more background on the prize and DOE's vision.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Miles Rogers, and I am a program officer within the State Energy Program. And I was also involved in the Environmental Justice Tiger Team, which helped in the development of this Community Clean Energy Coalition Prize. So I really just wanted to take 2 to 3 minutes to discuss this slide that you're seeing right now. Very basic, but it shows kind of the vision and the goals that are behind this prize. Really wanted to talk about the background of this prize and how it came about. And you know, this is really the first application, the first time that we've tried to apply the Joint Office priorities on energy equity and environmental justice. We call it Triple EJ. And because it's the first time that we've really tried to work in this space, you know, your feedback is going to be so extremely important in helping us run this prize efficiently and in a way that really is benefiting communities. Your participation is also extremely valued because you know, your high participation shows the department that there's interest here, and it could help us have another iteration of this prize, or have another prize kind of under this umbrella of prizes. So, you know, where did this prize come from? You know, it really happens from 3 different activities. One was really just consistent input across all of the EERE program offices that indicated a need to expand and maybe establish new connections between DOE and community-based organizations. And, you know, it's really, though, that communication helps to inform those tech offices on some of the technology developments that are happening, and just overall increasing EERE's knowledge of the challenges and the issues that are happening on the ground. And, you know, our sources for this feedback has come from a ton of different things. You know, an RFI roundtable that we held with CBOs earlier this year. There's also an entire EERE-wide internal synthesis of stakeholder feedback. So our sources have come from a lot. And we've also, just from the Inclusive Innovation Prize, just saw that there was a high volume of interest in getting funding directly to CBOs. And we really wanted to jump on this opportunity and kind of keep that momentum rolling and getting funding to community-based organizations. You know, and then the last activity that kind of informed this prize was overall interest from programs in better connecting with and having a better understanding of energy equity and environmental justice needs for clean energy. And, you know, those needs will help to guide us in some of our program development in the next year and even beyond. So, you know, you see the vision, you see what our goals are. You know, our kind of big picture goal is following the Justice 40 initiative in delivering 40% of the overall benefits of DOE to disadvantaged communities. So again, you know, we're extremely excited to have you here, extremely excited to see all the participation and enthusiasm. And thank you again to the Power Connectors for putting this on. We're so excited to get funding out the door. Thank you.
Great. So hopefully those comments helped provide a little bit more information about the prize itself, the vision. I'm excited now to transition over to the panel discussion portion of our program. So I'll invite my colleague Eric Foster to join us on the stage, and please turn on your camera. Eric will be moderating today's panel, which will cover effective coalition building. So over to you, Eric.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. How are you? Or good morning, depending upon the part of the country that you're coming from. Hope that you all are having a great day today. And so as we get forward to bringing on our panelists that will have a lively and positive conversation about coalition building in this important sector. So first, I'll start with Dwayne Norris from Soulful Synergy. Dwayne is co-founder of Soulful Synergy LLC, which is a full-service, minority-owned innovation workforce development company, specializing in skill-based training for new workers in New York City. Is a proud Harlem Rotarian, appointed member of the Westchester African American Advisory Board, and an ambassador for the business Westchester. So Dwayne, thank you for joining us today. And then I'd also like to introduce Vide Kroto with the Tebughna Foundation, and Vide is the director of the Tebughna Foundation, which serves the village of Tebughna, which is located 40 miles southwest of Anchorage, Alaska, by cultural enhancements and educational opportunities. So, Vide, thank you for joining us today. And then lastly, I'd like to introduce DeAngelis Garcia Jr., who is with Soulardarity. Soulardarity is a nonprofit in my home state here of Michigan that works in one of our challenged communities, Highland Park, with respect to, oh, I'm sorry, give me 1 second. I just saw something. So I do apologize. We're just trying to, so D'Angelo is a Detroit native and communication specialist with Soulardarity. 18 years of experience supporting branding, communication, and public relations needs for emerging personalities and businesses alike. Garcia has led corporate and nonprofit organizations, talent, and branding success. So thank you, DeAngelis, as well. And is everybody up? All right. So what I want to do is start off today by asking if you all can add a brief introduction to tell a little bit more about yourself and your organization, and give everybody that's participating today a little bit more background on the initiatives that you're working on in the communities.
Sure. I don't mind going first. You can hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
All right, excellent. Well, good afternoon, good morning. Pleasure to be here with you all. I apologize for being in my car, but I was at a luncheon, and you know, sometimes you get a little double booked. But pleasure to be here. My name is Dwayne Norris, co-founder of Soulful Synergy. And you know, as the name may illustrate or demonstrate, I mean, coalition building and collaboration is what we really are all about. It's what we were founded on. The idea of kind of breaking down silos and leveraging public and private partnerships for community benefit. And so we kind of pride ourselves on being that bridge between working with for-profit entities, nonprofit entities, government agencies to develop programming and solutions that are really helping to, you know, support the advanced communities. Our individuals able to thrive in these communities. A lot of several years has really kind of been focused around workforce development. We also do MWB support and other things, but really at the core, workforce development is where we see the biggest need to make sure that our communities, especially communities of color, disenfranchised communities, low-income communities, have access to the resources and trainings that are going to allow them to participate in this new economy, this emerging economy that is vastly changing before our eyes, and everything from green construction to clean energy to technology. Things are rapidly changing, and to keep pace with that, you need to make sure that your training is up to date and really allows people to participate. So we run a number of different workforce programs. We do everything from, certification-based trainings in OSHA and, flagger, scaffolding, etc. We run hands-on training for carpentry, electrical, plumbing. We run a clean energy academy that's focused on energy efficiency work and really kind of helping our participants understand how to audit and implement energy efficiency measures for things like lighting, HVAC, heating, hot water, building envelope, heat pumps. We're building a whole new electric vehicle training, solar training. And so we see these industries and opportunities as a lot of where the puck is going, as my business partner and I like to say. We don't chase the puck, we go set up where the puck will be, as Wayne Gretzky used to say, and make sure that our communities are going to have a stake in this clean energy future, this transition. At a state level, New York State is putting a lot of money into some of these initiatives. So we have a program or a policy called the CLCPA, the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, which is very much in line with the Justice 40 initiative from Biden's administration around allocating 35-40% of new investments in clean energy and environmental initiatives into what they call disadvantaged communities. And we're making sure that, again, our community is trained to participate in that work. Investments come in, somebody else doing all the work, upgrading our buildings, putting solar, putting in green roofs, putting in community garden spaces, and all that stuff comes, but we don't have a stake in the actual investment, in the economic benefits. So making sure that businesses are at the forefront of it, that they know how to participate as prime contractors, and that individuals have a stake in it as those who can work in the workforce. So I hope that gave you a maybe better sense, and I'm sorry if it was long-winded, but I get excited, so I'll stop there.
No, thank you, Dwayne. We appreciate that. And so, coming from another part of the country, coming from Alaska, Vide, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about your work and the initiatives that you're working on in the community.
Sure, and thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. My name is Vide Kroto. I'm from the native village of Tebughna, which is an Athabascan Indian nation. I'm Denina Athabascan. Tebughna means the beach people, and I'm the executive director of the Tebughna Foundation. We serve the native village of Tebughna tribal members and our Tebughna Native Corporation shareholders. As a part of our community development part of our foundation, we try to be very proactive in going after funding that will help our village. And one of the things that came up from our community was the high cost of energy. And so we partnered with we have many partners. I'll explain later, but we did receive so far in the past 2 years about $950,000 in pro bono help. And so this project that we have right now is for solar and wind energy, because the high cost of energy in Alaska is, I don't even know what you guys pay down there, but in the village, in the winter times, we pay about $300 to $700 a month just for the electricity bill. And we're very reliant on electricity and gas. And it never used to be that way. So we are, with this initiative we have 229 tribes in the state of Alaska. That's more than half of all the tribes, the native tribes of the whole United States. And so with so many rural villages, rural areas, we share a lot of the same difficulties. And so a part of our initiative is to create awareness, create a handbook on like the how-tos, how we're getting this funding, how we're using the funding that we have now to make more connections to get our projects done. And this will go out to our villages because they're in the same place that we are. And we were just blessed enough to come in contact with our partners that began to all come together to help us. And so we have 3 initiatives. One is the solar and wind energy. And the other one is building green homes with that solar and wind energy, having more efficient homes. We have homes that were, they're about 60 years old now. And when they were built in our villages, they came from California, so they have no insulation. They're not fitted for Alaska. They're pretty much, they're ready to be just totally taken down and rebuilt. So we want to do it right and have green homes that'll have solar, wind energy. That is, we're hoping to get what's called net zero homes, where it will basically run on its own energy. And also is to get our, with the homes and the energy, and then we're hoping that'll bring people back, but bring out awareness to the other tribes that, we're small. Our foundation, we have, there's myself, and now we have 3 others. Before it was just myself and my bookkeeper. And so with this, we were able to hire a project manager, and with our partners helping us in every area that we need help on. It just creates more awareness of our project. And, I know when people think Alaska, it's just so far away, but we have the same problems that other people has as far as rural areas and small and disadvantaged communities, minorities, trying to get to compete for the same funding that the larger corporations and the larger communities, businesses has. And so we're hoping to build like a roadmap to how to receive the help that we're receiving now, because we don't want to keep it to ourselves, but we want to get it out there to whoever it will help. And so that's why I'm here today, is to get that word out and to help communities that need it, because we've been helped a lot so far in these last couple of years. So thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it. And I love that framework, as you said. Alaska and what you all are dealing with are no different than the challenges in communities in the continental 48 and in Hawaii. And a community that I know well, my father used to work for one of the former mayors in Highland Park, Michigan, that hopefully maybe some cross collaboration could take place, is the city of Highland Park, and where Soulardarity does a lot of their work. So DeAngelis, can you jump in and tell us a little bit about some of the community initiatives that you all are working on, and Soulardarity, and what you all are doing out here?
Yes, thank you, Eric, for having me today, and thanks for all the other panelists for being here. Again, my name is DeAngelis Garcia Bay, and I'm the communication strategist for Soulardarity. Soulardarity is a solar or energy democracy organization, which is our special niche of environmental justice, which originally started out as an effort to replace 1,000 streetlights that were repossessed by DTE in 2011 due to a arrangement that they came up with the municipal of Highland Park that didn't involve any of the citizens or the residents' input. People just woke up one day and DTE was uninstalling streetlights and literally left the community in the dark. Is how we describe the gravity of that issue. But in the 10 years since, actually we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary this year, we've been able to replace a great number of those lights. But not only that, we've been able to make advances in policy at the state and city level, as well as lead some of the initiatives that were already mentioned for our locale. I believe Dwayne mentioned earlier the Justice 40, which is a coalition that we participate in with a special chapter in Michigan called the Justice 40 Alliance. And we also have been integral in working with a coalition of organizations and representatives to receive the community's LEAP funding, which is like a federal grant or a federal award for technical assistance when it comes to like clean energy and the decarbonization. And so not only that, as a matter of fact, next week we are participating with the Midwest Building Decarbonization Coalition with their Energy Equity Summit, which is another coalition that we're a part of year-round that focuses on helping the 8 states in the Northwest Territory or in the Midwest reach carbon neutrality by 2035, which is about 15 years in advance of what the federal initiative is. And so I say all of that to say that a coalition building and leading and participating in coalitions is really a big part of the way that Soulardarity is able to make impact. And so I'm really happy to be here to talk about that with you guys today.
Great. Well, thank you. So I'm going to ask this next question and kind of open it up to you all for hopefully some good positive back and forth. With the particular initiatives that you all are working on that you mentioned, what sparked the development of those, and what roles did the needs of the citizens, businesses, stakeholders in your community play in helping craft these initiatives that you've been working on? So please just kind of jump in. We're going to free float for a little bit.
So I don't mind. Anybody that's been to New York City probably knows that we're very congested. We have a lot of big buildings, tall buildings, but a lot of old buildings. And buildings contribute about 70% of our carbon emissions and greenhouse gases. So yeah, making our buildings more energy efficient is just as a high priority. As much as transportation and everything else, building and energy efficiency is just huge in New York. Apartment complexes and development. So that was really the need. And we're fortunate to be somewhat progressive as a state, where we have our utility company that we work with, Con Edison. So they manage the grid and distribute energy and electricity to people's homes and businesses, to be on board with our program. That there was already some funding from Con Edison and from New York State for energy efficiency incentives. I know not every state is quite as progressive and may not have the ability for people to get free energy audits or upgrades or retrofits. But we were kind of fortunate that there was some groundswell. But the challenge was New York State, as progressive as it is, has set some very high goals, and those goals cannot be reached without a whole new workforce, a very diverse workforce, different than the workforce that has been around. We need people that are credible messengers in different neighborhoods in Brooklyn and the Bronx and areas that may not have been focused on energy efficiency previously, but need to be introduced to it as a method for lowering the costs in their homes and lowering the costs in their businesses. And so there was definitely a community need for education, and our training program really helps to address that with a lot of boots on the ground and a lot of collaboration with nonprofits and local partners who help us to get the word out about the need for energy efficiency, but also about the free training opportunities, the incentive opportunities that are out there. And so we leverage a pretty wide network to make sure that, you know, we all have a stake in our environmental justice needs, and we all have, you know, a kind of a way of being able to take action on some of the things that are needed. So I'll say very organically, but also we're fortunate here, I believe, to have support from the state and support from a local utility that wants to invest in education and training for people to have careers and opportunities in the clean energy space.
Perfect. Anyone else want to chime in on?
I like to do that one. I think that so one of the things that's really important to the work of Soulardarity. I'm sorry, I really just literally, as soon as I was about to answer the question, I lost it. Could you reiterate the question for me, please?
So it's, how did the initiatives that you spoke to, how did they spark? What sparked them, and what role did the needs of the community play in helping craft the response that you all have done to work on those initiatives?
Oh, thank you for reminding me. So instantly what I thought about is that in Soulardarity's work, what we really lead with is self-determination, or what's known as Kuti Chakalia in Swahili. And what that really looks like for us is our work in coalition spaces, because a lot of the organizations that we partner with uh, align with the same philosophy, that it really takes, you know, many hands to make light work, but also that that people are well equipped to solve their own problems. And so being able to come into a group of like minds like that really challenges the way that that the opposition views us. And so, you know, out of love for our community and really high respect for that value of self-determination is how we began to seek out the solutions to replace those street lights, which brought us also to the realization that that there was something wrong with the way that big utility and state government was interacting with each other. And so that led to our policy work. But in the meantime, we also recognized that part of empowering a community was training them. So we found partnerships that helped us train Highland Park and surrounding residents in solar technology installation, which allows us to, you know, create programming that advocates for solar bulk purchasing. But, you know, all of these things are programs that are running right now at Soulardarity, and things that we address in real time. But it all started from those seeds of, you know, having compassion for the community, and realizing that self-determination a lot of the time is the way that we rise to meet our challenges and receive that assistance oftentimes that we're looking for.
All right.
Mm-hmm. I'll chime in there too. So for us, what actually sparked it was Facebook. One of our elders posted her electricity bill and said, "I need help. I can't pay this." And it was in the middle of winter, and it was like over $700 for that month. And she had to have a lot of electricity turned on because she had a oxygen tank and several other things where she needed clean filtered air. She couldn't have the wood stoves like they have here in Alaska. So she had to have electric heat. She had to have her oxygen tank. So it was constantly running up her electric bill. And so when I saw that and thinking, you know, we need to do something about this, you know, it's not only going to happen this month, but every month. And so we just finished helping our village complete their 10-year strategic plan. And so what we did is every time we have a program or anything, we take it to the community. And we put up big, huge sticky notes all over the walls, and we ask questions, and we have markers, and we just have everybody put their input in there. So if people don't want to stand up and speak out, but they want to get that out, because usually after the meetings is when people come up to you and say, "I wish this and this and this." So we put it on notes, and we asked everybody to grab a marker and start writing. And then from that, we turned those into surveys, and we put it out online, and we put it door to door. And what came up was housing, the electric bills, and our culture. And so that gave us our foundation 3 things to work on. And so that's how our 3 initiatives sparked. That's how they began, was from a Facebook message. And sometimes that's all it takes is, but we've had so many throughout the years, people coming to our village council or our community and saying, "We want to do this for you. We want to do this for you." And so they get what they want out of it, sadly, and they leave. And the project is never finished. And so we kind of took the stance of there's going to be nothing about us without us. We're not going to have people do things for us. We're going to be a part of it. And if we're leading it, then we're the ones that are accountable for seeing it through. And so that's where it was my job to now look for someone to help us. And the first thing we wanted was to tackle the energy. And so it just so happens one of the renters in the building where my office is, she was moving out, and she said, I always wanted to introduce you to this guy. I think you guys would work great together. He's out in Georgia, and he has this, he runs his own nonprofit, and he used to work, I think it was for the Department of Energy. Anyway, it's called the College and Community Partnership Program, where he partners colleges with disadvantaged communities, like college students who are getting their MBAs or their master's degrees or their second master's, and he partners them with students with their professors to write proposals or different things that we need, that they specialize in those colleges. And from there, I was also introduced to the Thriving Earth Exchange, where I think it's monthly, they pick 2 communities, disadvantaged communities, to work with. And they have over 60,000 scientists, and they will pair up a scientist, 1 or 2 scientists even, with your project, and they will do the research. They'll help you in project managing. And it was just a great fit. And then from there, those contacts knew other contacts, and our collaboration started to grow from there. But it all started with just a Facebook message of one of our elders' high electric bill.
So a couple things that I'm hearing, and I want to, with this, Dwayne and Vide, is to ask you all to talk about your success with the Inclusive Energy Innovation Prize. But one thing that I hear is listening first to your constituents, then drove your actions after that. I think, guys, that's an important take. And I loved what you said, nothing about us without us. That is something that there's a whole lot of our society, political structure, and others that needs to remember that it can't be anything without about us without us. But so Dwayne and Vide, can you all talk a little bit about your IEIP prize winning experience, what it was like going through that? And then we have a question that Andy can answer from the audience as it relates to this upcoming prize. So after you all talk, I'd like to have Andy come up and answer that question.
Sure. I don't mind going first. This was an interesting one. So over the last few years, we put in a number of proposals to NYSERDA, that's our New York State Energy Research and Development Authority. They've been one of our biggest funders for all of our clean energy initiatives. And I know that they appreciate this collaborative approach because we are a a small business, a minority-owned business. Most of the other partners that help us to implement our training provider, our tech, our job placement support, we're all small businesses, minority owned, but we work with some large engineering firms like Willdan. We work with our large utility company. We work with university partners who refer candidates. We work with nonprofits who refer candidates, who support with wraparound services. I know that here in New York, they love that collaborative model. When I first saw the Inclusive Innovation Prize, it was very exciting to me that the DOE was kind of speaking our language of kind of what we had been seeing working here in New York, and how we had been able to develop success, is that it requires all these different entities And I had been first introduced to the Inclusive Innovation Prize through a roundtable they had last June. And I think they were still in the development of the prize. They were still kind of understanding how it could best be introduced, because primarily the Department of Energy had only been funding universities when it came to training. They really weren't in the space of funding any types of resources for profits or nonprofits and others. And they didn't have a lot of teeth in how universities were reaching disadvantaged or disenfranchised communities. And that to me was a little bit of a disconnect. So I had conversations with them. I actually responded to the RFI that the DOE put out. So I was kind of involved in the process of how they were unfolding this, and very inspired by kind of their approach to wanting to invest in programs that they found were being successful, or wanting to invest in programs where they felt there was a need and that were being led by the community, right? For us, by us, and with us involved, as Vide said. So I found that to be very inspiring. So that's what made me want to apply, is after having conversations with the Department of Energy and really understanding their vision for it. The application process was not overwhelming. One, they use a platform. The HeroX platform is actually pretty user-friendly. You create your profile, and then you can actually see all the other different organizations that are interested or that are looking to apply. With the power connectors, you can actually connect with other organizations and build coalitions right there on the platform, which is pretty cool. They make the application process not too cumbersome. They actually give you a template for how it can be filled out, which not all grants and RFPs do. If any of you are familiar with filling out RFPs and grants, they give you a sense of what the scoring rubric is, like literally what things they're looking for and how they're being scored, which again, not every grant and proposal does. So those things I felt like they did in the interest of trying to make it welcoming, inviting to want to fill out, where there was clarity around what they were looking for and clarity around the things that they were scoring and holding in high regard. The email that I got after I submitted did make me nervous, because we were now one of 200 plus entrants from around the country. And I honestly, God, didn't think we had that great of a chance. I wasn't sure. I mean, here in New York, I know we do some great work, and usually we're up against maybe another 10 proposals and we win, and we feel good. But going against 200 is a different animal. So I'll say the process was convenient and made to be flexible. Was there business network? I met with Ali and her team prior to being finalized. So the support was there, the process was there, and it's very much been a great working relationship after we got the award. In fact, next week they invited us down to DC for like a little conference of Inclusive Innovation Prize winners, so that we can connect and collaborate and keep these things going. So they're providing ongoing resources to us, and I just encourage anyone who is interested to take the chance.
All right, thank you. And Vide, please jump in. Should have asked Dwayne to be a little bit more direct, unfortunately, just because of time constraints. But Vide, please tell us a little bit about your experience.
Dwayne did a good job. I agree with everything he said. The process was very user friendly, and it fit into what we were doing, it was such a good fit that we wanted to go for this. And submitting the video, that was fun, and then having the one-on-ones, the technical assistance that it provides. We just met with our connector, where you meet with a connector, someone who will help you, and I feel like we found the perfect fit. And then we'll be traveling to DC to meet up with the group and meet up with different departments, Department of Energy and different departments, to see where we're at, how we need help. It's so supportive. It's not like any other grant. It really is a prize, and it feels like a prize. And being from Alaska, we'll just try it, and we did, and we won the prize. So it really gave us this boost to really see, and it's helping. I mean, every day we rely on this prize to help us with the collaborators that we have, because it's a lot of experienced people, and it's experience we don't have, that we wouldn't be able to what we've been doing. It costs a lot of money to come to Alaska, and because all our collaborators are pro bono, we're able to use some of this funding to bring them to Alaska, because we're working with people from Georgia, from Florida, from Alabama recently, DC, and to bring them to Alaska to put boots on the ground so they can see our problems and see where we need help. So, but the process of going through the prize, it wasn't, it took a lot of work, yes, a lot of thought put into it, but if you're passionate about what you're trying to do, just make that shine in your report, in whatever they're asking, you know, have that in mind. And that's what we did, is just show the need, and what we can't do and what you can't do, be honest about it, I think is the big thing. But the process was very user friendly, and I'm just thankful we were chosen, because it really does help.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you. And Andy, if you can jump in, because we have a question that relates to this prize contest. And so if you can kind of tee it up.
Yeah, so just wanted to flag for folks that do have questions, feel free to drop those into the Q&A on the right side of your screen. We will do our best to try to answer those today or follow up. We do have one question about the prize. It is, does a core segment of the coalition need to be finalized by the time of submission deadline in December, or can a nonprofit still be building the coalition partners at the time of submission? You know, phase 2 of the prize does allow for plenty of room for coalitions to adjust, expand, add partners, or change roles, things of that nature. You know, I do want to highlight, though, that you probably want to have a nonprofit anchor partner lined up for this submission, because that is a requirement. So coalitions don't have to be set in stone by December. But in that first submission, coalitions should be described to the fullest extent possible, including plans for the future. You know, we definitely would encourage you to consult the official rules guidance, which my colleagues can post in the chat. I do think we may have one representative from NREL on the call today. I don't want to put Lance Hawley on the spot, but if you have anything to add, feel free to drop that in the chat as well. So hopefully that answers the question there. And I believe that wraps up all of the questions we've received so far. So maybe, Eric, I'll pass it back over to you for any closing thoughts on the conversation.
Well, you know, because we're getting ready to move to our first set of breakouts, which is going to be important for continuing the conversation of how to collaborate, and the story of Vide, and I hope I'm not mispronouncing it, is how her organization reached across real lines: Alaska, Georgia, Florida, DC. That's what we're hoping comes out of this conversation, is that organizations will have that ability to connect and communicate and see how they can help each other across state boundaries for serving the communities that we're all trying to serve. And so with that, I want to, Dwayne wants to make a quick comment, and
super quick. I actually just found out today that we will have $10 to train Maryland individuals, Potomac and outside. I don't know where people are on this call, but we have training dollars to train people free in Maryland. We're about to run free training in California. So please, I said, reach out to me on the website, or however you need to get in contact with me. I'd be happy to connect with anybody from across the country, because we are running a lot of free training that people can participate in. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's not a problem. So with that, Andy, I guess we will now jump to our breakout sessions.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was a fantastic conversation. I just want to thank all of our panelists for participating, and thank you, Eric, for leading the discussion. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Hopefully you had fruitful conversations in the first networking session. I know I learned a little bit more about some of the participants, so hopefully you did as well. I did want to flag, if you weren't able to grab someone's contact information, you should be able to contact them directly under the chat section of your screen. You should be able to scroll down to participants and send them a private chat to grab an email address or website or what have you. Or in the upcoming networking session, you'll be able to reach out to them as well. So before we get to that session, we did want to provide an opportunity for each of the power connectors a little bit about their organizations, who they are, what they do, and how they fit into this this prize. So at this point, I'll invite Megan on stage to speak about Browning the Green Space. If you could turn your camera on, Megan. Great, I can see you. And thank you for joining us, Megan, and over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Andy. And thanks everyone for joining us this afternoon. It's so nice to meet some of you at the breakouts that we just had. So my name is Megan Aki. I'm a Deputy Director at Browning the Green Space. We're a nonprofit organization in the Northeast that's a coalition of cross-sector leaders working on diversity, equity, and inclusion in the clean energy and climate space. Our mission is threefold. We're working to create jobs, build wealth, and reduce energy burden for communities of color. And we are a power connector for this Community Clean Energy Coalition Prize. And we're super excited to be supporting teams in putting together applications and building diverse coalitions to really tackle some of these energy challenges. And so some of the ways that we're supporting applicants, we are going to be having actually another teaming call next week on Tuesday from 11 to noon Eastern time. And I'll drop the registration link in the chat as well so folks can register. Primarily our network is in the Northeast, but anyone is welcome to join this teaming call. But particularly if you are looking for other nonprofit and clean energy companies and municipal partners in the Northeast, we are here to support you in making those connections. Our team is also going to be doing application review and support leading up to the phase 1 deadline in December. So myself, as well as my colleague Hadas Webb, are available to help you with thinking through your coalition and the application materials that you're putting together for the prize. My contact information is here on the slide, and you're welcome to shoot me an email and let me know if there's anything that we can do to support your organizations in thinking through potential coalitions.
Great. Thank you so much, Megan. Really appreciate that, and really looking forward to working with you all closely on this prize. So now I'll pass it over to Natasha Campbell. Natasha, I'll invite you onto the stage. If you could please turn on your camera, that should bring you up on stage. And we would love to hear more about the neighborhood housing services of South Florida and the work you are doing and how you can help applicants. So at this time, Natasha, if you can hear me, if you could please turn on your camera to jump on stage to present. And if, Natasha, if you're having issues jumping on stage, or perhaps you may be away from your screen, I would be happy to go over the Clean Energy Business Network and then jump back to you. I'll give it another minute here. Okay, it appears she might be having technical issues, so hopefully she can get that sorted out. I will just provide a little bit more background information on the Clean Energy Business Network. So if we could go to that next slide, and then hopefully we can hear from Natasha shortly. But a little bit about the CEBN. So the CEBN serves as a small business voice for the clean energy economy. We work to enhance opportunities for clean energy providers through policy support, market and technology information, and business development. We have over 7,000 clean tech business leaders in our network from across the country, working in a wide array of clean energy technologies. So CEBN has served as a power connector for the American Made Challenges program for the past 2 years. And we're excited to be working with you all on this prize. So we have a number of resources that I wanted to highlight that are most relevant for this prize. So we are going to be offering one-on-one office hours. So for folks to jump on the line with us, to have your questions answered, and for us to review, at a high level, your plan for a submission. We are also offering a teaming form. So collaborations are highly encouraged on this prize, and may boost your ability to actually win the prize itself. So we highly encourage you to use our teaming form, and this form will enable you to submit some very basic information about who you are, what you do, and see what some of the other interested parties are doing as well, and provide you an opportunity to collaborate with other folks and explore synergies. So that's a basic overview of the CEBN, who we are and what we do. If you have any additional questions for us, our contact information is listed on this slide. Please feel free to reach out at any time. I will just check one more time to see if Natasha is available to speak. Natasha, if you're there, I'll give you a minute to try to sort out your camera issues. If not, maybe we can try to turn to you after the networking session again. Okay, so why don't we turn to our networking session, part 2. For this session, what we're going to do is we're going to return to the networking portion. However, this time the tables will be broken out by geography. So please do navigate to the table that is most relevant to you. And actually, you know what? Maybe it might be appropriate for me to return to the slide that that Natasha was going to present. My apologies, but we do want to give a little bit more exposure for the neighborhood housing services of South Florida. As you can see on the slide here, this organization based in South Florida, it's a team of HBCU graduates and a community-based economic development nonprofit working to connect HBCU campuses to community through clean energy and economic development. So this entity is involved in DEI recruitment, community engagement, mentoring, and coaching. Natasha has volunteered to help support applicants through developing and connecting BIPOC coalition teams with focus on HBCUs and nonprofits serving communities of color in the 19 states where HBCUs are located. So this especially includes those in the South and Northeast. So Natasha's contact information is on the screen there. Her email address is listed right there. So if this organization looks like a good fit for you, please do reach out to her there. Oh, and it looks like Natasha has joined us. Great. I'm so sorry for the tech issues you were experiencing, Natasha. But I don't know if you wanted to add anything that I may have missed or misrepresented from your slide.
No, I think you did a great job. Thank you, Andy, and thank you for covering for us. I was having some technical difficulties, but I think you covered it well. Neighborhood Housing Services of South Florida. We are a community development organization with a focus on economic development, and we see the AMC program as really transformative for our community, especially the Clean Energy Community Coalition Prize. We're here to work with organizations, with individuals who are seeking to connect with diverse communities, be that historically Black colleges and universities or other minority serving institutions, as well as those community-based organizations that support communities of color. My contact information is on the slide that Andy can reach out to us by visiting our website, www.nhsf.org, or you can email us at nhsfpowerconnectors.org. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, Natasha, and apologies again for the tech issues. So at this time, we'll have our second networking portion of the day. And